how's it going? So today I'm gonna get a little serious. It's something that a lot of women go through and I don't necessarily think that it's talked about enough. I'm gonna be talking to you today about my postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety story, as well as how I personally beat it without taking any medication. So before I start though, I just wanna tell you, this is my story. This is something that maybe you'll find inspirational, maybe it'll help you along your journey, that kind of thing. But postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety are very real, very serious illnesses, and they should not be taken lightly. If you suspect that you have postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety, you need to seek help through a medical provider first. Before I did any of these things, I spoke to my doctor to make sure that they were on board and that, I was safe, and more importantly, that my kids were safe. When I got pregnant with my second child, the first thing that came to my mind was PPD, and PPD stands for postpartum depression. And the reason for that was because with my first daughter, I suffered from late onset postpartum depression and anxiety. I would have days where, I don't know, maybe I was like tearful and negative, and then it would range all the way to laying in bed, screaming, crying, and thinking that my family, my then boyfriend, now husband, and my child, my daughter, were better off without me. I would say things like that all the time. I would say, I'm worthless. What do you want me here for? Overall, for me, postpartum depression was a crushing feeling that I was failing as a mother and as a wife and as a human being, and it took me to complete and almost utter darkness. And then with that, postpartum anxiety, it made me feel like I could almost never leave my child alone, with people that loved her. I would get nervous leaving Delilah with Brian, with her dad. I would worry that maybe he's not gonna watch her like I do. Maybe she's gonna get hurt. I would call babysitters several times in an hour to make sure that she was okay. I was just constantly terrified that something was gonna happen to her. And then, all of those feelings coupled with feeling like I'm not good enough, it seriously is crushing, and it's a very, very dark feeling. I was trying to do so many things. I was working. When Delilah was about 8 to 9 months old, Brian got laid off from a job, and I was working like part-time as a lifeguard, and I was terrified that everything was gonna come like crashing down around us. And I just felt like I had no control over the situation. I just felt like I was failing, and I was overwhelmingly sad and just constantly felt this like dark cloud over myself. So I don't know exactly what happened during that time, but I said that my postpartum depression and anxiety started kind of late onset. So when she was first born, I was like blissful and happy and even kind of like naive. Like I didn't really know what it took to take care of a child. And then I finished school and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I'm responsible for this person's life. Any choice that I make is gonna affect her. And it hit me like a ton of bricks and kind of sent me into like a spiral almost. There were days that I couldn't get myself out of bed, and I felt like I was failing. When I had Delilah also, I lost a lot of like very close relationships. If you have been a young parent before, you might know that struggle. You might know that a lot of your friendships end up kind of disintegrating. That I think also contributed to the depression and just this overwhelming feeling that I was just failing. And if I'm failing, how can I protect her from all of these like overwhelming things in life? So the postpartum depression and anxiety it almost crippled me. There were days where seriously, like I don't know how I got through the day, honestly, other than support of people around me. And I don't really know how to describe postpartum depression other than that type of a feeling. So when I got pregnant for the second time, like my mind immediately went back there. I actually had to sit down and make a list of how I was going to be better and how I was going to be okay. That's my story. So now I want to tell you how I got myself well. So the first thing that I did to get myself well was to get out and do some exercise outside. And as soon as I felt well enough to be in the world, or, you know, days when I was kind of coaxed to be in the world, I would put Delilah either in the stroller or, you know, pick her up and just walk with her. And I made sure to take her with me so that we could continue bonding. I knew enough that I knew postpartum depression and anxiety can really wreck a mother-child relationship. So I made sure she was with me during this time, but I would take her out and I would do, you know, walks, or I would take her to the park and run with her, or take her to outdoor play groups. I just got myself outside where I was in the world and seeing more positive things rather than sitting in my house with my own thoughts. That is something that was really, really negative for me. When I would have those days of not getting out of bed, it was probably the worst choice that I could have made to stay in that bed. I began to spiral and have these like really dark feelings and thoughts, and just it was not good. So taking yourself outside with your kiddo, if you can manage, is a great plan. So if you can just get yourself out there, get back into the world, one baby step at a time. Maybe try for like 10 minutes one day. The first time that I did it, I like went outside and sat on the porch. Like it wasn't even exercise, it was just being in the world again. And then I tried like walking with her around the block for a couple of minutes, and then I walked with her another couple of blocks to the park that was near our house, and then, you know, I chased her up and down the sidewalk, and then I took her for a run. You have to kind of take it in steps, but exercise can be one of the best things for you. Increasing the things that I put in my body that were good really helped. I didn't eat great, and when I wasn't eating great, my mind wasn't doing as well. So on days when I ate more vegetables, or when I chose to be more healthy, or when I took my vitamins, or when I added more supplements in that were really helpful for me, I felt better. I immediately felt better. But I continue to eat that way after having Harrison now, because I know that postpartum depression is possible for me again, because I had it the first time. So I want to make sure that it doesn't pop up again. And I know that in my body, it can pop up for me at any time. So it's not like you get through the first 6 weeks of having a baby and you're good. For me, it could happen at any minute. So the third thing that really helped me conquer postpartum depression and anxiety was sunlight. So on days when I didn't feel like exercising, or I just didn't have it in me to exercise, I made sure that I got outside and had some sunlight. Like before, I told you, the very first day I went and I just sat on the porch with my child, and I just sat there, and it happened to be a really sunny day in April, which is so random for Portland. Usually it's raining and gross in April. But I sat there and I enjoyed our time together, and I enjoyed just being outside and just being in the sunlight. So vitamin D will definitely do your body good, and it can start to pull you back into the real world. The next thing is crucial. I should have actually had this at the very beginning, but sleep. I know that a lot of moms are sleep deprived, especially new moms, or especially moms of infants, or especially moms of toddlers, really all moms. But when you have these little kids at home, you're more likely than not to be not sleeping. Give yourself time to sleep. Make sure that you have someone who can support you in getting that sleep. So whether it's a partner in your life, whether it's a friend who's gonna come over and like let you take a shower and take a nap while they take your kids, or a babysitter that you have employed, somebody. Give yourself time to sleep. It re-energizes your brain, it re-energizes your body, and it can really pull you out of a dark place. However, sleep can also kind of do the opposite. If you're laying in your bed all day and sleeping and just kind of wallowing in the depression that you're having, that can be negative. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep that you feel rested, but make sure that you're also getting out and being in the world. The last piece kind of goes hand in hand with that, is making sure that you have some kind of a support system and that you're asking for help. I wish that someone would have known that it was okay to tell me that I wasn't okay. Finally, I identified it in myself, but I think most people around me were too afraid to tell me. They didn't want me to kind of break. Make sure that you have those support people around you, and make sure that maybe before you have your kiddo, if you maybe even think a little bit that you could be predisposed to postpartum depression, make sure that you tell somebody around you that it's okay to tell you those things. So just make sure that you are supported, that you have someone that you feel like you can talk to if things get bad. So those are the tips that I have for getting through postpartum depression without medication. However, I do know that depression, and postpartum depression especially, can be dangerous if not deadly. So if these things aren't working for you, please, please, please do not take this video as any kind of shame in asking for additional help or whatever it is that you think that you need, whether that's medication or therapy or whatever is next. Just don't be afraid to ask for help and get the help that you need. So this video is not meant to make anyone feel shame. If you know what you need, again, your body is different than my body. I was able to cope without medication, which I'm really proud of that fact. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody who does have to go to therapy or take medication. I've been to therapy lots of times in my life for lots of different things. There's no shame in that. If you don't know where to get help, please email me. I'm gonna have my email down below and I can send you resources, and I will also have those linked down in the description below. So if you or someone that you know is suffering from postpartum depression, or you think they are, or they're predisposed to it, please check out those resources and please either get help for yourself or get help for the person that you love in your life. So thank you guys so much for being here. I just recently checked how many friends we have, how big our BAM fam has grown on this channel, and we're at 4,500 people on this channel, and I am just blown away. I did want to let you guys know that when we reach 5,000 subscribers, I'm gonna go ahead and do a live stream. It's gonna be my first ever live stream, and I hope that all of you will join me. I'm gonna do YouTube live, and I don't know what time I will do it. If you have suggestions for time, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I'm open to that. I hope that this video was really helpful. I hope that if any of you have had postpartum depression, that you have come out and you are on the other side. If you're currently expecting and you think that you could be predisposed to postpartum depression, please do not be afraid to get help, and please don't be afraid to ask for support. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. That can get more people support who need it. If you are one of my YouTube friends, thank you so much for being here. If you're a part of our BAM fam, if you are new here, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button below. I love having new people on this channel, and I love meeting new friends. If you have had postpartum depression and you feel comfortable leaving your experience, feel free to leave that down in the comments below as well. And by the way, you guys, have fun today.